let's talk about shutter speed. What is shutter speed? What does it mean? Shutter speed is essentially how long a camera's shutter stays open. Let me explain. When a camera takes a photograph, the shutter pops open for a brief moment. During that moment, whatever shutter speed you set on your camera, the camera receives all of the information it needs to create a photograph. You set the speed. The shutter not only controls what speed it lets light in, it also captures the motion of the image. So for example, if I'm shooting sports or wildlife, I may want a fast shutter speed. This would cause the sport, a race car driving, to be crisp, not blurry, even if it's in motion. If you wanted to take a picture of a bird, you may want a fast shutter speed so that their wings aren't blurry. A slow shutter speed would be perfect for a waterfall or even light trail. If you've seen on social media where people paint with light, that's done with a long exposure or a slow shutter speed. If you're shooting a race car in motion and you want the background to be blurry, you could trace the race car's movement and set your shutter speed to about 1/30th of a second, or 1/30. If you're shooting a handheld photo that's a typical everyday shot, you should keep your shutter speed above 1/60th of a second, or 1/60. This prevents the movements of your hand from making your shot blurry. If you're shooting a bird, you may want 1/500. You may even want 1000 or 1/1000. If you're painting with light or doing a long exposure, you may want 2, 3, 5, 7, 9 seconds. You may want 30 seconds. You could even step up to minutes. Most cameras, even entry-level cameras, have an option for bulb mode. Bulb mode is where the shutter will stay open for as long as you choose. Keep in mind, the longer you keep a shutter open, the more light you let in. If you're doing a long exposure during the day of a waterfall, you may have to use an ND filter. An ND filter cuts light, darkening your scene and allowing you to have a long exposure during the day. Here's how I would practice. If I were you and I had a camera and I were going to go out and practice shutter speeds, I would find a common ISO that looks good overall. In daylight, maybe 100. Then I would adjust the shutter speed and try different effects. Wave your hand in front of the camera. Move light around in front of the camera. There are thousands of options. In future episodes, I'm going to go over long exposures, short exposures, using the manual, but understanding what white balance really is. Basic lighting, shooting photos with natural light, understanding RAW versus JPEG, basic editing in Lightroom, capturing action shot, macro photography, and my personal favorite, shooting in low light. There's a trick. Good photographers will tell you there's a trick. Shooting in low light is my forte. So make sure you click that follow button, because I'm going to try to teach you everything I know, and hopefully it's just as much fun for me as it is for you. Everyone, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for doing me the honor of following along. If you've gotten this far in the video, then you're interested in what I do, and I appreciate that. So do me a favor, share this. Let your friends on your timeline see it. Don't let social media win the battle. There are creative people out there who are being destroyed by social media. I don't agree with. The only way I can combat it is to join the war. So thank you. I mean it.